Hi, and welcome to another edition of Inspired Messages Monday, the March edition. It's Sue here, and there's such a lot going on in the world and in the heavens. And I think the most important message I want to get across is that this is all meant to be happening, as above, so below. And so it's important not to go into fear, to keep your vibration high, to spend time with your loved ones, get out in the sunshine. It's beautiful today. Just take a walk, hug a tree, and make sure that you're with the right people. You've got the right people around you. So if you want me, you know where I am. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's going to be happening in March in the stars. So the first thing is there is a new moon on the 2nd of March, and that is going to be in the sign of Pisces. Now Pisces is ruled by the planet Neptune, and so this is a really soft, dreamy energy, but also you can be deluded, or that you can see things and it's all an illusion. So you need to think about that are what is what you're seeing, is what you're watching, is it all real? And I will come on to that a bit later on, but I'm thinking of the media, who is really playing the propaganda card at the moment. So what I want you to do, because this is a new moon, and at new moons we plan the goals for the next 28 days, and because it's ruled by Neptune, we can use that energy for creative visualization to create the kind of world that we want in our mind's eye. And if enough people do that, that's exactly what happens, because everything starts with a thought, and then becomes a picture, and then becomes a reality. So this is really, really important that you use this new moon, do a new moon ritual, write out what you want on the grand scale of things for the world, maybe personally as well. Sit in the moonlight and do a new moon ritual. So that new moon in Pisces is also going to be conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter always brings expansion. So hopefully it's not expansion to more propaganda. We want expansion for a better world, and because it is the new moon, that's what we need to put out there. So it can bring truth, which is really, really important at the moment, and freedom as well, expansion of all those things, because this new moon is actually sitting next to this beautiful planet of Jupiter, which brings optimism and enthusiasm and new things, because it's the new moon, remember. Okay, so it's expansion, and this is really going to help what we want to happen. Now this new moon is also sextiling Uranus. Now Uranus obviously is the planet of it can be disruption, but this is a sextile, so I think it's probably going to be a time when more people awaken, and it's very innovative and original, and again can bring opportunities. So this is it can be said that it's eccentric as well, so it's about thinking outside of the box. Now also with the new moon, we've got Venus next to Mars, next to Pluto. These three are all together in this new moon chart, so that's really powerful. And actually the Venus and the Mars are on the same degree that the Saturn-Pluto transit that was happening in December. So there's an echo here about something and moving on, and transformation. Out of the ashes rises something new. So this is a really powerful step. We call it a stellium when there's more than two planets together. And also we've got Mercury conjunct Saturn. Now Mercury is about communication, Saturn is about structure. So I'm hoping that it's about structuring of new plans with everything else that's in this new moon. But it could be that it is the suppression of the real news that we've got in the mainstream media, because obviously they're not actually telling the truth about anything. Anything that's going on in the world is always the opposite. So you really need to understand that. Now, I did pull what part of the spread, and this was in the gift position, and it's the Emperor. So I felt this kind of went with this Mercury Saturn, because if we're going to have something new out of the ashes, right, you know, we need to have some kind of structure, and the Emperor is about structure. It's about expansion of foundations, building something up from, you know, from the bottom up. It's also about security and worldly authority, and obviously we need new people to run the world, because the world at the moment is totally and utterly corrupt. So I thought that was a really great card to come up, you know, because it's the gift and part of this new moon that we've got coming on the 2nd. So the next card, the next day that we've got something is on the 5th, and the Sun is going to conjunct Jupiter. So this is, you know, it's exact on that day. On the new moon, it's a little bit way apart, but we have to bring it into the new moon reading. So this is really positive, because it's bringing that energy that I've just mentioned, the expansion of our dreams, new opportunities, truth, freedom. It's all going to help us. And the card that came up, we seem to have this nearly every time, every month, is obviously the Chariot. And the Chariot is known to be a card of victory. So I'm going with that one. It's a great card to have, fighting for justice, again optimism, and he is actually riding away from the city behind, and it's said that means that he's riding away from materialism and riding towards spirituality. So I think we've got to think about that, because we are in a spiritual war. And you know, this war is about materialism. It is the, you know, the rich people against the poor people, and I think the spiritual side will get us through. So I think that's really kind of quite a positive card. Now on the 6th, we're going to have the Venus and the Mars are going to enter into Aquarius, having left Capricorn. So this is a very different energy, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and so when you've got Mars, which is the god of war, moving into Aquarius, yeah, we can't really expect peace at the moment. And so, you know, it could mean that we've got more volatile things happening around the world. But not to get drawn into it, you know, to stay centered, to stay firm in your standing in your own truth, and your own spiritual autonomy, I think is really, really important. Obviously, you know, Aquarius is about humanity. So, you know, Mars can be used in a structured way. The energy of Mars can be used to create something that we want. It won't be like it's been, it will be different. I think it's about the power of the people, and finding, you know, the right people, your tribe, if you like, the people that you want to be with. And a lot of that is going on around the world. So we've got Stand in the Park, which has been going a year. It was a year last Sunday, and that started in Australia, and now people are meeting in their parks from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock on the Sunday, and drawing together their tribe. And out of that, we've got other things, other groups, you know, gardening groups and all sorts of things that are happening. So I think, you know, thinking outside of the box, obviously Venus in Aquarius, you know, if you've got Venus and Aquarius in your birth chart, you don't like to be tied down. You have to be in a relationship that allows you the space to grow, allows you the space to be you. So it's the same, you know, we need our freedom to be able to do what we want to do. So this is quite telling and quite important. And then on the 13th, we've got the Sun. The Sun is going to conjunct Neptune. Now, I've already talked on Neptune rules Pisces. We've got the Moon in Pisces on the 2nd. So this is, you know, again, about that similar kind of energy, creating actually what you want, you know, putting it out there, doing your creative visualization, you're manifesting, and it brings great intuitive understanding and visionary gifts, very sensitive to the energies, and a certainty in there of what is right and what is wrong. So and also on the 11th, 2 days before that, Mercury is moving into Pisces as well, and that obviously enhances it all because Mercury is the planet of communication. So yeah, there's a lot here about we can visualize our future and put ourselves on the right timeline. So on the 18th, we're going to have the full moon in the opposite sign of Pisces, and that is in Virgo. So Virgo is about health, also everyday habits and routines, also serving others, helping others. And making, I think it's important that we make any necessary changes that we need to do in our own life to do with health, eating the right thing, doing the right exercises, making sure we're, you know, in the sunshine, going to bed at the right time, etc., etc., taking our vitamin C and our vitamin D and our zinc and all those kind of things, is, you know, keeping our immune system really topped up. Okay, and this full moon is also trining, and this is a trine, it's not an awful aspect, it's trining Pluto, so more change, you know, because Pluto is that planet of transformation, as I've already mentioned many times. And the card that came up, again, we've had this a lot in this reading, was the Wheel of Fortune. This is about cycles, you know, it's got the wheel on it as well, and it's an ever repeating cycle. And if we look back in history, when we had the planetary energies that we've had, you will find that there was a massive change when these planets come together. So this is the right card to come up. It's about an evolutionary shift. It's about fate, destiny, ending of a cycle, as we move towards the spring equinox, which it is going to be on the 20th. So really powerful time for all of us. Just before I talk about the equinox, the Lovers came up. So the Lovers can mean that we have to make a decision about two paths. I think it really means two things to me when I saw this card. Was we have to make a decision whose side we're on. We can't be fluffy about it, because if everybody stood up and said, you know, no, I'm not, adhering to the, what's being put out there, then the world would change very, very quickly. So I think this is about a choice. But also, because it is the lovers, I think it's about love, and I think love is the key to all of this. We need to send out love, and it has to, we're in a war. It is a spiritual war between the light and the dark, and we need to be sending love, putting love and forgiveness on the dark side, which I know sounds a bit weird, but that's what we have to do. We have to, without the dark, we don't see the polarity, and this is about polarity. That we need to see the bad stuff so that we don't let it happen again, and we need to send love to the bad stuff, but we don't want it anymore. Basically, we're not accepting it, but we're giving love to it, okay, because we needed to see it. So that's what I feel that card is about. So on the 20th, the sun moves into Aries, and it is the spring equinox, and I am so thankful and so looking forward to that, because we're going to have longer nights, we're going to change the clocks, and it actually marks the start of the astrological year. And Mars is the ruler of Aries, is actually squaring Uranus in that chart. So here we have Uranus again, and the card that goes with that, obviously, and this was in the spread, is the Tower. So it goes with it. It's disruption, and we've got nothing but disruption at the moment. This is Uranus is about rebellion and possible violence. You need to watch out for it on the world stage. Protests. The truckers in the US are now starting their own convoy as I speak, and we have 3 weeks of the truckers in Canada, in Ottawa, not on the mainstream, just ordinary men and women who are standing up for freedom. And they had lots of parties and singing, and that was demonized by the president, which I'm not going to mention his name. I'm sure you know who he is, another Mr. T. And so, a lot has gone on there, but it's not stopping other people doing the same. And so we will see more of this, protests, truckers, as I say, in other places around the world. And then the Russia-Ukraine thing, which is all a psyop. And just so that we don't look there, we look over there. It's just more of the same, more of what we've had with the C-19, and now they're changing their attention to something else. And do not watch mainstream news, because it's all rubbish. And if you take my newsletter, I do put links to what is actually happening. And if you want to take it, then contact me on my astrology website, which is astrologysue.com, on my contact page, and I will add you to the list. And so, yes, lots going on. I think more people are going to wake up. I think that's what this card is about as well. Waking up to the corruption. And interesting that this card has lightning, breaking, coming in, and I think that's divine intervention. I think there's a lot of that going on, and the people falling out are the bad people. So I'm looking at it, not altogether as negative, is what I'm saying. We are having disruption everywhere, and this is going to continue until there are more and more people awake, until we've reached a critical mass of people. And then it's like the 100th monkey syndrome, where some monkeys start doing something, and then on another island the others start to do it. even though they're not with the other monkeys. It's the same kind of thing. So don't look at this as too negative, okay? So the next card that came up was this card, which is obviously the devil. My feeling again on this, it's abuse of power, which is what's been going on for thousands of years. And this abuse of power is for material gain, and fear mongering, and you know, it's not going to work. Basically, yes, we have to see it, we have to see the dark, but it's not going to work. So the next card that came up was this card. And this is another card that it represents the awakener. I mean, the story's on the card. You've got the angel blowing his bugle, trying to wake the people up below who are in their coffins. And this, you know, has echoes to the full moon in Virgo. You know, it's about changing your beliefs, really, your programming. Get out of your programming, and that's what this is trying to do, this angel, the judgment. So it's about a time of transition, readjustment, breaking free of old habits, and as I say, it echoes the full moon in Virgo. So if you can remember that would be great. And so on the 26th of March, we have Mercury sextiling Pluto. Now, this is a sextile. Mercury is about your thoughts and your communication, and it's sextiling Pluto. So this means people are going to start researching. They're going to look deeper. They're going to be probing, you know, and secrets will be revealed. And there's going to be much more of that. And the truth is going to be exposed. But obviously, you know, you need to be in the right place to hear it. You might start hearing it on mainstream news. Certainly in the UK, GB News is coming out with more and more stuff. So, you know, just be aware that, you know, things will be revealed, because you can't keep it down. It's not going to happen. So we're going to end with the 17, which was in a really lovely position, and it connects to the higher realms. You know, this is the star. Okay, and I think it rules astrology. You know, I think it's an astrological card, and I think some people say it connects to help from people who are off world, you know, if you want to call them ETs or aliens or some other kind of consciousness. But yeah, definitely maybe help from off-worlders, and it brings hope, and links to Mercury, so it links to communication again, intuition, divination, and divine laws, and ultimately it brings truth, really, from an inner knowing, that then brings peace. And I think that's kind of where I started right at the beginning, that, you know, we need to stand in our own truth. We need to stand up for what we believe in, which is love, really, and harmony and justice and peace. That's what we are about. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants famine. Nobody wants aggression. We don't want it. But we are going through it, and so we have to stand strong and realise that we are being asked by the universal energies to stand strong at this time of change that we find ourselves in. So that being said, the affirmation I'd like you to say every morning, hand on heart, is peace, love, joy, harmony reigns on planet Earth. Peace, love, joy, harmony reigns on planet Earth. It's really simple, Affirmation, the more you put it out there, the more it becomes a reality. Your creative visualization, your new moon wishes, doing a new moon ritual, a full moon ritual at the full moon, all those things are going to help the collective. Because if we're all doing it, it helps the energy change, and it puts us on the right timeline. And we need to be on the timeline that's good and that's peaceful, that's loving and kind. And you know, it's important to be kind. If you can do a good term, you know, it's really important, isn't it? You know, and one good turn deserves another as well. So you know, it all works. You know, if we're in harmony, and we will get it. And don't think I don't get down, because I do. But I'm basically an optimist, so I'm not down for very long. I've got this. I actually have got a strong Jupiter in my chart, so you know that keeps me optimistic. Thank goodness for my Jupiter, and I have Mars in Aries, which gives me my drive, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, I cannot bear injustice, and I have to help. And if this helps people, then that, you know, that's everything. You know, I just want people to be aware and realise that we are going through this time of change, and you know, it doesn't happen in 5 minutes. If you want me, you know where I am. You can contact me through my contact page. I'm on Facebook, Astrology Sue Fletcher. Yeah, and yeah, have a great March, you know, because we are going to be moving towards the light. We've got more flowers coming. I've got flowers behind. I always love my flowers, so you know. You know, the bulbs will be coming up. We're going to have more light. So enjoy March, and I'll see you at the beginning of April. So bye for now. Bye bye.